COP26 will be instrumental in laying out the common framework under which businesses can come together, indeed work together globally, to solve the pressing issue of climate change. At this point, any one organization's attempt to change practices or add policies to fight climate change is honorable and hopefully authentic, but one company going it alone, on their own, is not going to be enough at this point. The quick fixes have all been done. We need comprehensive and coordinated action. COP26 will provide the overarching regulatory framework under which businesses can confidently collaborate, share information and resources, further new joint innovation, and start rowing collectively in the same direction against this fight. It's not clear that businesses are going to collaborate on their own, and so COP26 will move the collective to action with a framework, an understanding of incentives, commonly applied tax policies, penalties, and so on. For those businesses not necessarily paying attention to COP26, it's certainly time to wake up. COP26 will allow businesses to gain insight into where regulation and incentives are heading and to contribute to that thinking. In that case, it will permit business leaders to get an early lead thinking through how their organization can work together with governments going forward to deliver their emissions targets and, frankly, on their overall sustainability goals. To be honest, I'm sure there are many global business leaders who understand and support the Paris Agreement, but they don't realize it came alive during a meeting called COP21. Hopefully, we are all coming to understand the power of convening and the power of these COP meetings to set a common agenda against which to take action. Consumer products companies and retailers are under a lot of pressure from all sides to address any number of sustainability challenges, from carbon emissions to plastic and textile waste in landfills to deforestation, water waste, and on and on. Consumers are increasingly vocal about wanting these companies to do something about it. People are willing to do their part, but up to a point. The EY Future Consumer Index indicates that 1/3 of consumers are willing to pay more for sustainable products. But we know that the intention and action gap for consumers is also quite wide. And to be honest, coming out of the other side of the pandemic, many people are more worried about the end of the month and not the end of the planet. That leaves a lot for consumer companies and governments to solve together. In fact, our EY research suggests that 73% of consumers believe that the brands they buy have a responsibility to make positive change in the world and to solve some of the world's complex problems. So there's work to do. In terms of COP26, I expect that out of it, we'll see the regulatory framework that consumer-facing companies will operate in for over the next decade, and a common framework will hopefully nudge collaboration. And that's a good thing, because it's going to take that for these fierce competitors to come together to solve some of the issues they've created. For example, given the complex and global nature of consumer supply chains, these companies have a significant challenge with visibility on Scope 3 emissions and upstream emissions. Solving this problem once, together, and creating an industry approach would save time and resources and provide the much-needed transparency across shared suppliers. A common global regulatory framework will give consumer companies the confidence to work together, share data and information, possibly create common supplier platforms, and deliver the innovation that is going to create a clear line of sight through their global supply chain networks.